across our social media platforms on Facebook at Lookup TV, on Twitter at Lookup TV, and on YouTube at Lookup TV. In our conversation for today, we are looking at mental health. Of course, this is a conversation that was brought to light even more with the COVID-19 pandemic. And with me on set right now is Purity Mwangi, who is a mental health advocate. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
And we're glad to have you. And let's talk about this mental health. We know that it is an area that slowly people are getting to know about it and just appreciating the fact that people can actually be sick mentally and they could physically look like they are okay. So as far as the efforts and in the country specifically, where do you think we are?
I would say that we are actually trying here in the country. At least there's so much advocacy on mental health. It's not like the olden days where someone is sick and you look at them and you just call them bad names. We're seeing people advocating for our mental health, which is very, very important. So as a country, I would say we are trying. We're not almost there, but we are getting there because we have mental hospitals, we have mental advocates, and we are taking care of those people that are mentally sick. So I think we're getting somewhere.
Right. And before we even get into the whole bit of it, you are a mental health advocate. Yes. Where did the journey begin for you, and why mental health?
So I used to be a high school teacher, and I used to have the kids come to school with so many problems. You know, when you talk of mental health, it's not just, it's this well-being, your social well-being, your emotional, your psychology. So it includes the whole being of yourself. And so with the kids, I'll look at them and they're so much troubled. Some of them are mentally sick because they have stress, they have depression, and they cannot even perform in school. So when I moved I live in the United States, and I moved there, I worked in a hospital, and most of the people who are physically sick, some of the diseases they had was due to stress. So sometimes you're having headache because you're having stress. So I went back to school and got a bachelor's degree in nursing, and I decided to work in a mental hospital. So that way I'm able to help people in this journey, because it's actually a disease.
Okay.
Yes.
And now that you're exposed to both environments, you have been here in the country,
Yes.
this is where you grew up,
Yes.
and then now you moved to the US. So how would you say then they look at mental health as compared to Kenya?
There's a lot of difference because over there, when you're sick mentally, you're treated, you are given, all aspects of you are treated, both religious, you're given medicine, you're taken care of. Here, sometimes we tend to think that we can just pray for a person who is sick and get well. I am a Christian and I know you can do that. But at some levels, sometimes you need to see maybe a counselor, you need to see a psychologist, you need to go to the hospital and get a pill that will make your brain calm down, because if the brain is maybe actively getting some neurons that it shouldn't be firing, then you get sick. So that needs a pill to calm you down, or maybe an injection to calm you down. So we can pray, but we need all those measures to check where someone is and what exactly treatment they need for that. Right. So as a country here, I can say we are trying, we are not yet there. In my country, one thing, when a person comes to you, you have to ask them whether they are stressed, because stress can lead to all other things.
Right. You can get a headache, you can get the
Yes.
backache, you can get
all that. So you're saying to the doctor, you have a headache, but it came from stress. So they're treating you because of they'll numb the pain, but they have not treated the cause of the problem,
which is your mental being. Come back over and
over. You keep coming, and then you're not getting the treatment that you want because you're mentally sick. Yes.
Right. And in the last 1 month,
yes,
in the country, there have been cases of suicide, yes, even at workplaces. And of course, setting those numbers being at a very alarming rate. And clearly, then there is a problem somewhere.
Yes.
So let's talk about job environments and what could cause, such it's sad instances.
Right.
Then. So how could the job environment be a safer space then?
work is stress. Work is stressful. Most of the job is stressful, but you as a worker, you can try to make an environment safe for you so that you're not stressed. What are your triggers at work that make it stressful? Like if you come late to work, already you're stressed, you see. If you are not doing things in accordance to how the company has set its rules, of course you're gonna get stressed. So sometimes we cause it ourselves by not maybe following the rules, or just avoid the triggers that make you get stressed. You can work out and see, what do I do with them? If it's time, come early. If it's the people that you're relating, because the relationship is also part of mental being. So
right.
Who are the people you're relating with? Are they positive people? Do you have positivity in your life? Or you're always seeing negative things? You may be going through a lot of challenges, but just look for a positive thing to make you laugh, you know, or make you just happy, even in that workplace. Don't go to people who are just encouraging, you know, it's so bad, you cannot make it. I always say that those people that are winners, they know it is hard, but they say it's possible to do it. They know it's difficult, but they'll keep trying.
Right.
But the losers will always say, oh, it can be done, but it's so hard, I'm not going to even try.
But you know, there are some instances where, say, it could be coming from maybe bosses.
Yes.
So maybe making the environment a little difficult. Could be overworking.
Yes.
Could be there are certain issues that are not well addressed.
Right.
Then maybe there's a breakdown of communication.
Correct.
So in my capacity as an employee, so maybe it's coming directly from my boss, then how am I supposed to deal with that? Because at the same time, I need the job.
Yes.
Because you want to get by.
Right.
Pay the bills. But at the same time, it could be causing a lot of stress. So how do you address such a situation?
I would say in such an instance, the first thing is communication. Because these are human beings. Our bosses are human beings. If you're a boss to someone, you're a human being. So first try to communicate and see what the problem is. And also as employers, I would just urge them, don't overwork people, because when people get tired, they get burnout. That also brings stress. When you're burnt out with your job, you don't give the best. So as an employer, just look at the workload that you give to your people, the workload. If you burn them out, don't expect good results. If you give them good, also motivate them. Just motivate them. When you motivate people, even if they are stressed, they will see they'll have the urge or the zeal to continue doing what they're doing. So the employers also need to look into that, because when you stress people at work, they'll take it to their family, and then it goes down to everybody else in the country.
Right.
Yes.
And a lot of times, in the cases that I have seen, then the mental health illness could stem from how we have been socialized. Yes. So how I've been brought up, it will influence how I react to different issues and different circumstances.
Right.
So how important is our socialization?
Like I said, you have to socialize with people who are positive in life. You live with people who are always negative. Even your thinking is affected. Even when there's opportunity to do something, you don't see it because you're always seeing negative side of everything. So look at the people you hang out with. Look at the people you socialize with. Look at the... Oh my God.
It's okay.
Look at the people that you talk to. Look at the books you read. Who are the people that you hang around with? So all that can make you to be positive in whatever you do.
Okay.
Yes.
And so the families that we come from, because there is a way that different people in a society have been brought up differently from different families. Some are from broken homes,
yes,
and the others are from, you know, very healthy kind of relationship. They come from such families. So that influences how we deal with issues out here, right?
Correct.
And so then, what is it that families should put in mind as kids are growing up, just generally for the family?
Yeah, I was brought up in this country, and I would say that starting from home to school, you'd hear people, like maybe your teacher will tell you, wewe ni ng'ombe. I hope they don't do that anymore. They would say some very demeaning statements. Or at home, your mom will be stressed and then will say something to the kid. That's demeaning. You cannot amount to anything. Those are things that come up to later in life. They show up. So that's why you feel that you're not confident in what you're doing. You cannot express yourself, because right from your family, they used to tell you you cannot amount to anything. You're not good. na yeye mwalimu anakuambia nyinyi mnafanya kama ng'ombe, you know, that kind of a thing. But so the family actually shapes how sometimes we think. You can overcome it with time and maybe with books and trying to socialize with positive people, but family plays a very important role in helping us raise. So I would urge maybe the parents or even the teachers, the community at large, especially when people are growing, just show them how positive they can be. Let them talk out their issues. You know, we are in a culture where we are told that the more we keep quiet, the more respectful we are. If your child challenges you, you won't tell them no. But they may be having something, they may be seeing something you're not seeing. So let them talk. Okay, you guide them, of course, they'll not abuse or talk, you know, ill. But let them speak out. That's how they know, okay, mom can listen to me. And if I have a problem, I can talk it out. And when they also go to a workplace or to school, they will talk it out. Right. When they go to their marriage life, if they ever get married, they'll be able to talk to their husbands. So both boys and girls are trained to talk. People speak, don't demean people, listen. Also, parents who listen to your kids, that way they grow up, their mental health, they grow knowing that, okay, someone listens. When someone talks, another person listens. Okay. And they'll be able to express themselves.
Right, and one of the things that COVID-19 brought to light is the state of mental health and in the world and even in the country.
Right.
And there are a lot of people who have anxiety issues.
Yes.
There's so many things that were brought to light. So many people are suffering in silence. So it took COVID-19 for people to stay at home and discover that they're not okay with their own company.
Yes.
So in light of this, what then, moving forward, can people do just to identify, just in case they could be having one of these mental illnesses?
Yeah, there's so many symptoms or signs. You can even check on yourself, your well-being, your mental health, and tell, oh, am I doing good or not? For example, if you loved doing something and now you don't love it anymore, maybe you love just calling people, now you find it takes you so much effort for you to do that. There's something wrong with you, because why did you love it, now you don't love it? So just check what's going on. You find not being able to sleep. It's not good. I have heard people say, oh, when I sleep for 4 hours, I'm so good. No, you're not. No, you're not.
That is so not healthy.
No, that's not healthy. Because sleep is a priority. We should make sure at least we sleep 6 to 7 hours, at least, or 8, at least 6. So when you say, I only sleep 3 hours and I'm good, you're mentally sick. Something is wrong with you, because something is making you not sleep. You can also, even the way you eat, it shows your mental being. Because if your mental being is not okay, if you are not okay emotionally, sometimes you eat a lot, or sometimes you may not eat. So you hear some people say, when I'm stressed, I don't eat. Or others would say, I know I'm stressed when I eat a lot. So there's so many signs and symptoms that you find. Or so maybe you just want to keep to yourself. Yeah. I wonder, I see people laughing and I'm wondering, why are they laughing? Then there's something wrong with you too, because if everyone is laughing apart from you, it means maybe you want to just be in your own cocoon. There's something which is bothering you in your mind, and you need to deal with it. Don't run away from it.
Right.
And
last week we had a conversation about childhood obesity.
Yes.
And one of the things that came to light is the food. So our relationship with food.
Yes.
And obviously we're living in times where there's a lot of junk food.
Yes.
There are a lot of fast food joints.
Yes, so close.
And these, in a sense, could affect our well-being.
Yes.
So then how can this be addressed?
I would say about eating helps. It's one of the parts that plays a lot in our mental being. Believe it or not, whatever you eat affects the way you think. The more carbohydrates, what's your body doing with whatever you're putting inside your body. Of course, it's your body, so the whole being of you is being affected. You eat a lot of the sugar and all that. There's some foods that you eat that will make you just relax and not want to do even exercise. Some of them you eat, they will make you hyper for some minute, like sugar, and then calm you down. So you have to look at what you're eating. Like I would say, avoid those joints. Just eat something healthy, because that's part of dealing with mental being.
So you have to be very intentional.
Very intentional with it. Like, what am I eating? What did I put today in my body? Like, hydrate yourself. Hydrate yourself. Drink as much water as you can.
Right.
To remove whatever toxins you may have, and to keep you hydrated and think well.
Okay.
Yes.
And even as we close, then I'd like to pick your thoughts on the very many people who are going to be watching, and many people have different issues.
Yes.
So how can people just moving forward, say, identify and get help where they feel like something is missing?
I would say if you feel that something is wrong with you, don't keep quiet. I believe the Ministry of Health here has hospitals that deal with that. Talk to somebody. Talk to somebody if you feel that something is bothering you. Don't just keep it to yourself, because we all you have problems, but the way you deal with them, have a positive attitude towards even the problems that you get, so that you keep moving. Don't get stuck. If you fall down and sit on the mat, don't keep on, you're just there on the mat. You need to get up and move, because people have problems, and the more you keep moving forward, the better. So even for the mind, the more you keep moving forward, the better. The more you hear, you also, when you talk and express yourself, people will share a lot, and you'll be able to get ideas on what you can do. But just stay positive. I would say stay positive.
And thank you so much. And of course, send our love back when you go, as you continue serving people.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank
and
you.
That is Purity Mwangi, who is a mental health advocate. And of course, the hashtag is Morning Drift. Don't go too far. We'll be coming up in just a short while.
Kila mtu lazima afanye nini? Afanye bidii. Nyinyi mnanielewa? Hakuna kitu ya bure hii Kenya, hakuna nothing. Kila mtu lazima ajipange, na ukijaribu kuiba pesa yangu ya serikali, tutakutana na wewe. Ala, kwani mnafikiri iko mchezo hapa? Si tumesema kazi ni kazi? Ama tulisema namna gani? Tulikubaliana kazi ni kazi. Kila mtu ajipange.
Welcome. You're watching The CEO. On this show, where we invite masters, captains of industry.
It's all about working in teams. Customers are happy. It's a good month. The markets are good. I mean, those are very exciting moments.
Ladies and gentlemen who tell us where and how to find money and put money in our pockets, and how to go about doing business in the best possible way.
For me, I'm not serving myself, I'm serving community.
Welcome back. This is the Morning Drift. And of course, let's get into our conversation today. Let's talk matters health and preventative medicine. Joining me right now on set is Mercy Nje here, who is a preventative medicine expert. Hi, Mercy.
Hello, Nancy.
Karibu.
Asante.
Karibu to the show.
Thank you.
And of course, this is a field where most of us don't know much about. Yes. Because when you talk about preventative medicine, so this means we prevent ourselves before we get sick.
Exactly.
Okay, so how important is it? Because people say what you don't know doesn't hurt you, such that I don't want to go to the gyna because I'll probably be told I have an infection that I didn't know I have.
Yes.
So I'm probably better off just staying like this.
Yes.
But how important is it?
First of all, I would like to say that your body is very important. Your health is very important. Before you worry about other people, say for example, you are working, or you have a family, or you have other things that you need to do, you have to remember that your body being healthy matters to you. So you need to take care of you before you take care of somebody else. It's very, very important, because what happens is if you have something and nobody knows about it, then it doesn't go away. I'm sorry to say that it doesn't go away. It gets worse. So even if you don't have any symptom, it just gets worse and worse. And by the time the symptoms appear, it's too far gone, and probably it's too late to do anything about it.
Right.
So it's very important.
Okay. But we're also living in times where the high cost of living is the order of the day. And I understand the president said that it will take him 1 year just to reduce the price of maize flour. So many Kenyans are actually struggling just to get by. So then many would wonder, why then invest going to see an expert like you, and they're not sick and they still need other basic needs?
I would say actually preventative medicine is cheaper than the real thing. Like when you go to be screened or to be checked, it's cheaper than when you are sick. So I think you have to kind of like change the way you think, you change the way you think, so that you can think about it and see, you know what, if I can, say for example, yes, you're talking about food, but say you are the breadwinner and all of a sudden now you can't win that bread. So because it's not something that you need to do every day, it's something you probably need to do once a year, I think it's about time that we change the mindset so that those things can be caught in good time and be taken care of. So I think it's a matter of priorities, but it's a matter of also prioritizing your health.
Right.
So that you are able to live your full life.
Okay.
That's what I would say.
And part of preventing diseases also now our diet, what we eat. So that is essential as well. We can talk a little bit about how now you can prevent even before going to get some screening done on you. Then in our own capacity, what we could do.
Yes, of course, a diet is very important. I think what we can do is just look at yourself and see how you're eating. And I am not ignorant about people who are not even able to do that. So I know that there are people who will eat what they get because that's all they get. But I would say that maybe average people should be able to maybe afford, good food. And I would say just look at your plate and see what you're putting in your body. I know we do a lot of carbohydrates, so make sure reduce that carbohydrates and add some greens and fruits and all these kind of stuff. So what we put in ourselves also is a preventative, something that we can use to prevent ourselves from getting sick.
Right, and let's talk about where you practice, which is in America.
Yes.
Then how do they view preventative medicine?
It's very important, and I would say an average American will have a family doctor, not because they are sick, but because they need somebody to be checking them. And I would say that is very important because you see them like yearly. They do your physicals. And when they do your physicals, they do your blood work. You're not sick. They're just making sure that your blood work is fine, your blood count is fine. They're just making sure that your heart is fine. And so in America, we have that. We visit our doctors at least once a year for an average person, but I would also say that you have a family doctor, you have your gynecologist that you visit once a year, whether you're sick or not. Right. So it's very, very usual. It's like a usual thing for Americans to see their doctors just because they need to establish a history that the doctor can know this is what you have, and this is how you are, this is your heart, this is your blood pressure, and it's really helpful.
Right, and the prevalence of a disease like cancer, it's very high, even just within the country. Yes. Then now with the October being which was the breast cancer awareness month, and many women were asked just to go and get tested.
Yes.
So then screening, is it done for illnesses, diseases like cancer only, or can you get screened for other different kind of diseases as well?
Yes, you can be screened for other kinds of diseases. For example, we advise, or the medical, the health professionals advise that if you have a history something that runs in your family.
Right.
And I know, especially here in Africa, we don't really like talking about that. We don't want to think about that. But say, for example, you have somebody in your family who died of a heart disease. You know, we cannot run away from genetics. We
Right.
cannot run away from inheritance. We cannot run away from that because we come from somewhere. You don't just appear. So if somebody in your family died of a heart disease or diabetes or cancer, to say that, then you need to be aware of it so that you can be aware that it could be in your system somehow. So there are other screenings that go on,
Right.
and they're very, very helpful. I have to give an example. I know I have to give an example of myself. I have, in my family, I have diabetes. And by the way, I'm a Christian, so I'm the kind of a person who prays to be healed. And, you know, I can pray for anybody to be healed, and I believe that God is able to do that. But then we also know that He doesn't necessarily do that all the time. For His own reasons and His own wisdom, He doesn't necessarily do that. So I know that diabetes run in my family. Right. So you go to a doctor and you give them that history. And what they do, they just do a blood work for you, and they will tell you, how is your blood sugar? How are your levels? Is it high? Like, are you at risk of developing diabetes? So, there are different screenings that are done in the United States.
Okay, so and during this screening, so not only for diseases, but also just to check the vitals, say the blood count and what have you.
Yes, in the United States of America, every year, it is recommended that you see your doctor just for blood work. So they will do your complete metabolic panel, where they will look at your white blood cells, your red blood cells, your hemoglobin. They'll look at your liver enzymes to just make sure that your liver is functioning right. They'll do it your kidney. They'll look at your kidney enzymes just to make sure that they function. That your kidney is functioning right, and they will do your blood pressure, and they will do your. Of course, they will do your temperature. Just so if there's anything coming, they'll be able to catch it. But I have to say that those are very important tests. They are screening, you're not sick, but they are able to catch a lot of people that have hypertension. And you know, hypertension is something, it's called a silent killer.
Right.
It can just kill you easily because it really doesn't have a lot of symptoms. You could probably be feeling like you have a headache, but we get headaches all the time. So you would be thinking, you know, I'll just take a painkiller and I'll be fine.
Maybe I was just stressed a little bit.
But then you're treating the symptom, but you are not treating the cause of the system,
Right.
the symptom rather.
And even with the COVID-19 pandemic, there are a lot of illnesses again that came to light because people who had the underlying conditions then were at more risk. So someone goes to the hospital, then it's discovered they have hypertension.
Yes.
Then someone else has diabetes,
Yes.
and it turned fatal in some instances where people died.
Yes.
So could a situation have been saved if people had known these diseases earlier?
Exactly. I think that a lot of lives would have been saved. Think about something like diabetes, and I'll talk about type 2 diabetes mellitus. I would say that does not just show up, it's a progression. So your sugar level begins to go up, and then next time it goes up. So it's kind of like gradual. So if it is caught in good time, then it means that something can be done about it. Maybe somebody can be advised on how to use exercises and how to diet to prevent them from being now full-blown diabetic. So if it is caught early, it's able to be taken care of, and then you would not be in that category of a high-risk person if you are infected with COVID-19.
Right. And looking at just what you do on a daily basis.
Yes.
So can you take us through maybe a normal day, what a normal day at work is like for you?
I would just say that I work in the laboratory in the United States of America. I work for a hospital. It's a big, big hospital. And I am trained to do testing, different types of testing. I can work in chemistry where we can do the blood sugars, we can do all these things that I have mentioned. I can work in hematology to do the blood counts and any abnormal cell. I can also work in coagulation and urinalysis. But right now I am doing microbiology and I'm also doing serology. Microbiology is where we're trying to isolate the disease-causing organisms like, bacteria. We are also making, giving the doctors the antibiotics that need to be used from whatever we isolate. And so I also work in serology where actually that's like my specialty now. That's where I find myself every day.
Right.
Where I run tests like HIV, I run, tests like Lyme disease, I run tests like measles, mumps, varicella zoster virus. So that's what I do. I am also qualified, although I don't do that every day on a daily basis, but I also do COVID-19 testing by PCR.
Okay. And at this time in the country, we know that during President Uhuru Kenyatta's tenure, then it tried to bring in the universal health care, which has not really taken effect. But the current state of health in Kenya, what are your thoughts?
I really think that there's a lot of room for improvement. I think especially the health insurance should be made affordable for every person, because most of the times why people do not want to go to the doctor is, like you said, they don't want to know what they have, and at the same time it's because they don't have the money to spend. But if the healthcare is made affordable, you are opening doors for like just a normal regular person to be able to go and get help. So I think there's really a lot to be done, because most of the things that are happening here should not really happen. And, I always remember people just dying, like when somebody dies, they were normal and they just fell and they died. And us people will be saying, oh, he was never sick. But no, that person has been sick. It's only that it was never diagnosed. It's only that they never went to the doctor and they were told, you have hypertension, you have diabetes. So when they get a diabetic shock, they just die. And we think, oh, they just died. The Lord just wanted them to rest. But no. That disease was eating them.
Now we know better.
Now, yeah. So I just hope that, something can be done about the healthcare and hospitals also. I have to mention this, that I also hope that there will come a time where somebody can be taken to the hospital and be treated before they are asked to bring the money. And I'm not saying it's bad to ask for the money, but think about it. This person is sick. They need help. They did not know they were going to get sick. Right. So treat them and then ask for money. Don't send them away just because they do not have the money. I really find that very, very pathetic where we are, and I know it's a first world country, so I don't want to compare so much, but in the United States of America, every single person gets treated. You don't even talk about money right there. When you show up in the emergency room, you get treated like a VIP.
So it's more about the well-being. More focused on the well-being of a person.
Yes,
okay.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for being part of the conversation. And yes. I believe this is it's something new for us to continue learning. So I believe we'll be having more engagements.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being part of the program.
Thank you so much.
That is Masinje here, who is a preventative medicine expert. And she says prevention is better than cure. Right. And thank you for being part of the conversation as well. And let's keep the conversation going across all our social media platforms at Lookup TV on Twitter, on Facebook, and on YouTube. I am Nancy Limer. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, goodbye.
The Healing Jesus campaign is coming to Kenya. Join evangelist Dag Heward-Mills as he preaches the gospel of salvation with miracles, signs and wonders. The campaign will be held in 2 towns.